It is a great day to be alive, and I am so thankful for God, Jesus Christ, who lives in us. Today's video is titled, Then versus Now, looking back at my two Tupac dreams. Before we get started, I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing that I'm sharing is financial advice. I'm simply sharing dreams, visions, and interpretations that I feel God has given me as it relates to crypto. Now, let's get into the video. So I want to start out by acknowledging the fact that Sister Sharon from My Daily Bread shared her Tupac dream a few years ago. She was the first person that I had come across talking about Tupac in connection to Ethereum. Sister Sharon and Brother Keith would go on to make videos together talking about her dream, breaking it down. Just 6 days ago, Brother Marcus was talking about her dream as it relates to the news about this upcoming Tupac murder trial beginning. And so as you see here in her thumbnail, it says Ethereum prophetic dream on setting buy orders. Tupac's case as prophetic sign for the timing. Well, that timing looks to be about now because we are seeing, after all of these years, finally, this Tupac murder trial is kicking off. Now, getting into my two dreams. My two dreams came after Sister Sharon's dream, and there were two. The first one was in 2024. I've shared this dream, but a small part of this dream I have been really talking about as it relates to the war that is going on now between the U.S., Israel, and Iran. But this dream started out with me understanding something about events that were taking place, things in the news, things to watch for. Watch the news carefully. I saw in this dream an individual holding a pair of glasses up to the computer screen, and they were scrolling down using their glasses as if they were reading without their glasses on their face, if that makes sense. And as I'm walking by this person doing this, I walk into a store or a shop where all of these items you can choose from. And these items you could customize with anything having to do with Tupac. And as I'm glancing through this shop, I'm seeing all of these things. And what caught my eye was a table that had a pair of headphones on it, a few other items. But what really stood out was the customized clear box, and inside this clear box was a tiny casket. So a tiny casket that was inside of a box. On the outside of this box that you could see through, there was painted on this box a U.S. flag. What I didn't understand in this dream, but what I understood after waking up, was that this flag was backwards. And so you guys have heard me talking about the backwards flag, what it represents marching towards war. Because it was a U.S. flag, that represents the U.S. is marching towards war. Remind you, we're in 2024 during this time. Getting back to the dream, next to this table was a huge portrait of Tupac. So in this dream, I'm thinking to myself, who would want to customize a small box with a small white casket on the inside of it? That's just weird. So after waking up from this dream, after over some time, some weeks of doing research, understanding what this backward flag represented, it took me again to thinking, what in the world, how in the world would the U.S. be involved in a small war? But the message for this dream was that the U.S. is marching towards war. And what does Tupac have anything to do with this war? So from that point up until this point in time, I have been sharing, again, backwards flag, marching towards war. The U.S. is going to be marching towards a small war, meaning it's not going to last that long. A small war that we eventually saw in 2025. The Israel-Iran 12-day war. This was indeed a small war. This small war took place the week that would have been Tupac's birthday. His birthday is June 16th. Again, this is 2025. Looking back in 2024, I had no idea. All I understood was that this is the message and it has something to do with Tupac. Now, before this small war took place in 2025, I had my second Tupac dream. This Tupac dream I had on February the 15th, 2025. And in this dream, I saw a picture of Tupac and someone else. Both pictures were together sharing the same frame. In this dream, I was jumping up, touching the picture. Each time I touched the picture, I saw two squares. One was red and one was blue. For me, seeing colors in dreams connects to deriving dates. Back then, I derived the date of May 26th, which would have been Memorial Day. And the message for this second Tupac dream is that someone has been framed with Tupac's murder. And I shared this message in the video when I shared this dream for the first time. So now this connects to the first Tupac dream, because again, in that dream, I saw a backwards flag painted on a small box with a small white casket inside. The second dream is connecting me to Memorial Day. And we know that Memorial Day is a holiday where we remember and honor those who have died and have served in our military. There is still a theme going on here that has to do with the U.S., something to do with war. And now that this Memorial Day holiday has been connected here, it has something to do with casualties, war and casualties. And based on the size of this casket, inside of this small box, small casket, small casualties. Well, here comes the 12-day war that took place in June, again, the week of Tupac's birthday. And during this 12-day war, there were no U.S. casualties. Now, backing up a few weeks before this small war began, I saw this article about Suge Knight urging longtime rival Sean Diddy Combs to take the stand to humanize himself. Now, during 2025, we know that Diddy trial was going on and getting started. And so here we have two rivals, one in prison giving the other advice. The other is facing prison time. And this article goes on to say how that this feud between these two rivals peaked when Tupac Shakur and Notorious B.I.G. were killed. So rivals and two murder cases. And again, this article came out around the end of March 2025. Now, if you've been following my channel, you know that I have shared, even from the time of 2024, how that Diddy is connected to XRP. His birthday, November 4th. I had been sharing that last year. It just so happened that the Ripple Swell Conference took place on November 4th. That came as confirmation to what I had already been sharing about how Diddy is connected to XRP. Putting it together with what Sister Sharon has been sharing about the connection between Ethereum and Tupac, we have two rivals, each being represented by a cryptocurrency. So again, the 12-day war took place. There were no casualties. But then we walk into Operation Epic Fury. This war is still symbolic of the first dream because you have the U.S. marching towards war. And it connects to the second Tupac dream, connecting to Memorial Day, remembering the fallen soldiers, remembering those who have served our country. And we know that so far there have been small casualties. And because these Tupac dreams have connected to things dealing with war, giving us the message that the U.S. is marching towards war, I don't think it's a coincidence that the timeline of this Tupac trial starting on tomorrow, the odds of it happening during the time that the U.S. is in a war, could take us back to the message of the second Tupac dream. Someone has been framed in this Tupac case. Will this be the message that comes out of this trial that is set to start on tomorrow? Also, is the start of this trial creating a timeline for XRP, Ethereum, and the end or the escalation of the U.S.-Israel-Iran war? Now, again, Sister Sharon has shared that the timing of this trial has something to do with Ethereum setting those low buy limit orders. So if the message here is to prepare for this Ethereum crash, I think it ties in perfectly well with the message that I have been sharing about Bitcoin being in the Eiffel Tower pattern, the message that I received from my dreams about Bitcoin crashing 80%. And because Ethereum does follow Bitcoin, for me, this lines up perfectly. Also, and I'll get into this in another video when we talk more about crossing paths with Luna rise and Bitcoin crash, and connect all those things in with this timeline that Sister Sharon has shared about the Ethereum crash. Depending on how long this trial goes for, this could again be a timeline for when we can expect the remainder of Bitcoin to drop to complete that 80% drop. The drop that started all the way when Bitcoin hit its peak on October 6, 2025. And so all these things are coming together, tying together. And with XRP, November 4th, that ties in to the US dollar collapsing. and crashing. So much to share as I sit back and begin to look at all of these things coming together. So hopefully I'm able to do a video to kind of piece together all of these things and create a timeline, a visual timeline of where we are and where these things are possibly going. So far, these Tupac dreams have been exactly what God has given me an understanding on as far as the U.S. war. Again, in 2024, this did make sense. In 2024, I could not see how this was possible. And it's amazing how quickly things can turn. But that is all that I have for this video. Until the next one, God bless.